Here's a recent project. We have a few trees that we planted many years ago right here with East Indian, cherry, and this is a former Oregon tree. Finally, it's starting to sprout out. Wanted to use this as a top work project, but we have to wait for those sprouts to grow out some more. And here's ice cream. And next door is our big project, our Valencia Pride to ice cream. And so everything you see here is ice cream mango. So those are the original trees. Well, this one we added fairly late in the going. And this is a Kent tree. But Kent had a lot of problems with mango bacterial black spot last season. And so, 2 seasons ago. And so I decided to top work it. And this is now orange sherbet. So you can probably see down there is we have former foxtail palms. And we had foxtail palms all the way, right here is the last stump. And they had gotten too big, and so we cut those down. And a few years ago, I put a bunch of seeds, sort of equally spaced, tried to avoid this, former foxtail stumps because of the roots around that. And these seedlings, they're all direct seed. I started to top work. So right here, this first one is Pina Colada. So we'll see if that takes. And there are 2 other seedlings in this same area, so I'll probably graft onto all 3 of these eventually. Here's a situation where we have 2 seedlings, but this one is very dominant. And right here is the graft, and this particular one is Karen Michelle. Very productive and vigorous, and very nice fruit, so looking forward to that. Here's a little one. So it's just a single, but right here I have top worked it, grafted E4 or sugarloaf onto it. And it's at the point where I can just cut back this original, the original seedling here. So I'll do that so that it won't try and sprout out where these leaves are. So that is E4 or sugarloaf. Then we have another situation where there are actually 3 seedlings, but they're a little bit older than those others. And this one is E4 again. So I've got that grafted onto this. This is one of the trunks of this seedling. And sort of an interesting thing has happened here. We have 2 shoots that are going basically in the same direction. So what I'm going to do is just, use this as the primary shoot in this area, and I'm going to just prepare this for grafting onto one of these other shoots. So we'll come back in a week or 2, and that will probably be ready to graft. This is I think this is the last of the E4 or sugarloaf grafts in this area. And I put these 2 scions on at the same time. This one just happens to be ahead of this other one. The smaller one that hasn't sprouted out yet is still green, and so I think it will survive. It's just that this other one is the star performer. This particular shoot I did not graft onto, so it's a seedling shoot, and as soon as I get, some more, another scion, I'll graft onto this shoot also, and so then we'll have a lot of branches of E4. That's the last of the grafting. I've got a few plants I'm hoping to graft onto, but these were actually not seedlings, and so they were seedlings, but they stayed in a pot for a while. They were not direct seeded into this area, and so I'm a little bit hesitant to graft onto them because they're just sort of have weird growth and such. But as long as we're here, take a little look at our speaking of direct seed, the direct like establishment without even going into soil of the dragon fruit. It's much slower this way. Our next project with dragon fruit is going to be different, but it's interesting that it survives and its little roots are attaching here, and so anyway, more definitely we'll need some more patience and a lot more rain and such, but these apparently will eventually become established. So let's go look at this other area right up here. Mango production. Eventually, most of these big trees will take out entirely, and so I'm trying to establish some other trees. Actually, there's two rows. This one and this one. It's a little bit of these are mostly ones that just survived for years. The fruit dropped from the trees, and they happen to be a pretty good distance from the fence. I took out a lot of the incidental or accidental seedling trees that were really close to the fence because that just is a long-term problem. And so trying to move the production out a little bit. These trees have had a little bit of a difficult time establishing because they didn't get any water. There's no irrigation here, but fairly recently, I think it was about 2.5 months ago, we got water. This is like a game changer. Who would have thought water was important to growing trees? But anyway, this is going right into our supply line from the street, so we didn't have to run a whole lot of pipe from the house. We just went right into the supply line, and I've been able to water with the hose most of the plants that are out here, so that has been lovely. So anyway, that's what it's looking like in my little corner of projects here. Of course, all of these seedling trees I will be top working once they get a little better established. A few of them have already been top worked. Those were some of the older trees that had just occurred on their own. But trees like this, I really want them to be a lot more vigorous before I graft onto them. So this I've grafted a while ago, and that is pineapple pleasure. And I've actually top worked a lot of this stump here to pineapple pleasure also. This was a old hating tree that had gotten really out of control, so now we have pineapple pleasure, so that's lovely. So that's sort of a quick look at my projects in this area of the grove. It's really not the main part of the grove, but I'm trying to find new places to plant plants and, of course, top work new varieties.